Hello everyone, welcome to Life Through the Lens. Tonight we have joining us Kalebra Kelby. Kalebra is an avid iPhoneographer, a mother, a pilot, an active member of the Google Plus community, an integral part of Kelby Media, and certain folks or person, we won't name him, has dubbed her the Pinterest Queen. We cannot wait to find out more about Kalebra tonight. We also have a Perfect Photo Suite 6.1 to give away, thanks to the rock star Brian Matiash from On One Software. Woo!
Hey, Brian.
Where's the cheering? Woo! Stay tuned, because later in tonight's show we will tell you how you can have a crack at winning it. Hint, it is inspired by Kalebra. We also have our Life Plus One segment where we get to share with you Google Plus photographers that inspire us. And tonight, Kalebra has a couple that she's going to share with us. My name is Kelli Seeger Kim. I am a mom, a macro photographer, and I co-curate Macro Monday with Kerry Murphy and Jennifer Eden here on Google Plus. And if you want to see any of my work, you can find it on my Google Plus profile page or at kellyseegerkim.smugmug.com. Next, we have Nguyen.
Hi everyone, I'm Nguyen, a photographer in Naples, Florida. I am not a mom, but I guess for ferrets consider me mom.
It totally counts.
Totally counts. I have kids apparently. Anyway, I am slowly getting back to being active on Google+. Been really, really busy. So you can see more of my work at zanna.com or here on Google+.
Yay! Karen Hutton, good evening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, that came out a lot lower than I really
Oh, wow.
Wow. I'm a little tired. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm Karen Hutton, and my most recent project where you can find my work is lilgalleries.com, L-I-L, galleries.com. It's a fabulous project we just launched. I'm also a photographer at lifeislightphotography.com and a professional voiceover individual at karenhutton.com, and I'm always thrilled to be here with everybody else. Okay. Carry on. Okay.
Good evening, Keith Barrett. How are you tonight?
Fine, thank you. I'm Keith Barrett. I am also not a mom, and I am on keithbarrett.com and vidcastnetwork.com, and I am a photography enthusiast and a tech person over at the Walt Disney World.
Excellent. Kerry Murphy, how are you tonight?
I am well. I am most definitely a mom. This past couple of days, very much mom, mommy. I have a little sick kid who's on the mend. So I am also a photographer and a business professional. I do co-curate Macro Monday and Women Wednesday here on Google+. And you can find my work on kerrymurphyphotography.com and also all my most recent work here on Google+, and I'm excited to be here.
Hello, Ron Clifford.
Hello, Kelli Seeger Kim. I'm Ron Clifford. I am also a photographer. Go figure, hey? Life Through the Lens. My work can be found at ronclifford.com, and here on Google+, I am avidly involved in the G+ mentorship program, which I hope to be announcing a new mentorship program in the next week. So keep your eye out on my stream for that. And other than that, I'm just really looking forward to tonight's show with Kalebra.
Wonderful. Tamara Pruessner, the displaced Tamara Pruessner for the evening. How are you?
I was kicked out of the living room for tonight. So if I'm bouncy, I'm very sorry. I'm balancing the laptop on my lap.
Wow.
I'm Tamara Pruessner. I'm in Arizona, and I'm a photographer of nature. You can find most of my work on Google+. I do have a website, www.throughtamseyes.com, but it's not kept up very well. In fact, I need to go ahead and revamp it completely. I'll just put that on my to-do list. That's a mile long.
And Tana Teel, how are you tonight?
I am doing very well. I'm Tana Teel, and I am a mom who is so ready for summer vacation to start. I can't even begin to tell you. But I'm a photographer in Eastern Washington, and you can find some of my shots at TanaTeelPhotography.com, or more recently and more fun here on G+.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And last but certainly not least, Kalebra Kelby. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Yay. Wow, well, check that out. Sorry.
I am Kalebra Kelby. I am a mom also, pilot. I am the co-founder of Kelby Media Group, which is a lot of things. I like to take pictures with my trusty iPhone, and I also do a little bit of singing. So a little bit of everything.
Wow, singing.
Oh, I knew I was going to discover more tonight.
Wow,
Just
very
one more thing on the list.
multi-talented.
Google Plus Karaoke Hangouts. That's
You didn't know what you were for.
Check out that shot of you.
Yeah, I thought, I'm behind the picture, but I thought I would pull this shot up, and that would be a great segue, because I know everybody's just dying to know a little bit more about the fact that you're a pilot, and where you're sitting in this picture. This is a small jet, is it not?
Well, actually, that was the jet that the first leg of a trip when we were headed over to Paris to do a day in Paris with Jay Maisel. So a friend of mine, Barb Cochran, is a Delta pilot, and so she made nice with the captains on that flight, and they let me come sit up front, so that's what that was.
It doesn't look like you're having much fun up there either.
You know, that was such a dangerous thing for me to do, because I really want to fly a jet so bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that was a lot of fun for me. Yeah.
Wow. So that's how did that all start? I mean, here you are, you're going along through life, because you started to become a pilot later on as you were raising a family, and this wasn't something you started as a young lady.
No.
You still are a young lady.
Nice save.
Yeah,
I'm going red.
You're lucky she's hot.
Yeah. Good thing you're still on that screen sharing.
Yeah,
thing.
you're hiding in that picture.
I'm not allowed to say anything about that. So.
Well, it actually was something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to fly. I was one of the kids that had all the dreams about being able to fly, you know, or bouncing so high, and for so long that I just kind of float around. I've always been fascinated with flight. But it was on the way, it was like a road trip my family and I were on, my husband and my son, actually, and just decided to play this game. Money was no object, you know, what would you buy? And
I love that game.
That's an awesome game, by the way.
It really is.
So, of course, my husband, he went straight for I would like to own an NFL football team.
Of course.
Yeah, which was a big hit with the teenage son in the back. They were having a lot of fun with that. And then I said, you know, I would buy a 747. And then they got all excited.
Go home.
Exactly. Well, money was no object, you understand.
Yeah.
And so they were all excited because they could fly their team around in the plane. And then I started thinking, they're like, that's so cool. That's such a great thing. And I was like, you know, that's cool. But what would really be cool is if I could fly that plane. And it's really funny because when I get an idea in my head, it's very hard for me to let it go.
Get it out, right?
So, you know, my husband immediately went into shock, and he's just like grabbing the steering wheel and just kept looking straight ahead, like, if I just ignore her, this will go away. But of course he was terrified, and I didn't let it go, and I couldn't let it go, and so I came home and did some research on where I might like to learn how to fly. And being the supportive husband that he is, he quick got me a gift certificate for a Discovery flight, and that was it. I was done.
Holy cow!
So what have you flown, and what is your favorite so far?
Well, I've only been flying for about 2.5 years. I trained in a Cessna 172, but currently I fly a Cessna 182, which is more engine, basically. It allows you, it's a little bit bigger plane, but allows you to get places faster. The lucky thing for me is that I trained, you know, it's funny sometimes, you're really blessed with what you don't know. And when I did the research of where I wanted to learn to fly, there was an international airport near us, the St. Pete Clearwater Airport. And I thought, well, that's great, you know, it's close by, it's a big school, they got lots of planes, very advanced planes with the G1000 avionics suite. Probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you, but it's considered to be an
good.
I'm going to pretend it does, though.
Yeah, it's an all-glass cockpit, so it's, you know, there's none of those little tactiles. It's basically, will be great when I can move into that sort of jet thing. The learning curve won't be as great because I'll have had all that. But anyway, so I thought this will be awesome, you know, I'll go there. And so wound up being at an international airport and dealing with all that traffic and tower communications and being in the more advanced airplanes. It was kind of funny because when you don't know what you don't know, you just walk in and you just think that's the way it is, you know.
Yeah.
But so I wound up flying the planes that they had there, which, like I said, are the Cessnas.
Yeah, I'm having heart palpitations just imagining doing it. It's like, you know, all the traffic and stuff. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, what's really interesting about that particular airport is that it's a training airport. So even though there are international flights that go in and out of there, the Coast Guard trains there, lots of flight schools there, and the tower is in training there. So some days it's really interesting.
Whoa.
You know, I just imagine right now like a bunch of the cars where he says like driver in training and they're going all like, you know, that's just not comforting in any way.
Some days were interesting for sure, you know. So, but it was a lot of fun, you know. And I still actually go there to rent to the same school whenever we go out.
Yeah.
We hear that you had, is it okay if I jump in here, Ron, and ask this question?
Yeah. Go ahead.
You had a particular experience flying that had to do with clouds. That's a little hint I'm giving you.
Well, that's a pretty big hint, though. Well, of course, you know, in order to get into the faster airplanes and, you know, be able to go more places whenever you really want to, you have to be able to have, be able to fly in weather that, with the current rating that I have, it's called a VFR, visual flight rating. So you kind of have to be able to see where you're going. There are distance minimums that, you know, you have to do with weather. But what I'm after is an instrument rating. And that's so that you can fly in the clouds, because, you know, you can't see. Obviously, you're in a cloud, you can't see anything else. Someone has to be controlling you, and you have to follow very specific rules, and you have to listen to the air traffic control. This is it's all about precision flying. And that is something that I'm going after now, is that instrument rating. And so my first day of popping through the clouds was just, I don't even know how I can describe it here.
I think we're going to lose her, but she will.
I think we've already lost the audio.
Yeah. It happens sometimes.
No.
It hangs out.
Oh, wait, she's back.
Is she back?
No. She's back?
No, she's frozen.
Yeah, she'll probably have to drop out and come back in.
The teaser alert, everyone.
I
This
know.
is a big teaser
That
alert.
sounds
Yeah.
meaningful.
Hanging on.
I get so
Thank you for asking. That was actually
Airsick,
right
right?
up there on the next questions to ask.
No, all I'm thinking about is that sounds like the scariest version of Marco Polo ever.
You know, I like.
No, it's not that bad, you guys. My dad's a pilot.
It's awesome.
And all the stuff that she's talking about, it's...
Let me just give you an idea of how I
friggin'
handle this
amazing.
stuff. If we just drive over a hill like this, like just up the road like this, I lurch every time in the car, and my husband looks at me every time. Seriously? You know, I'm like, I can't. You know, like it gets a little weird things in my belly. I am just such a dork, and I would not be able to handle that at all. I can't even handle driving. He's like, how do you drive? When
I think
no comment.
Wow.
being in the air is such a feeling of freedom, especially the little planes, the smaller planes like she's talking about. You know, there's you can just almost you just feel like a bird. It's just an amazing.
Because you can almost stretch your arms out and you just feel like you're just part of the machine. Like the machine is just an extension of you, as opposed to the big ones. You know,
especially when the wind's whistling through the little windows.
Yes, because that's how my dad has the air conditioning in his plane, is that it's just opening the little windows just enough, and then you get wind whipping through there. It's amazing.
In my next life, I want to come back a little braver.
Well,
the
Kerry,
aerial photography that you can get looking at the ground, because you get to see the ground in a way that you can't see in the commercial jets.
That's
The
true.
commercials, you have to be so much higher,
Yeah.
but in the little planes, you get to be lower,
That's
so you
true.
get to see all this amazing things that you don't get to see in those commercial
Because
planes.
a friend of mine was a weather and traffic reporter rather, in the San Francisco Bay Area, but he flew in a helicopter, so he invited me to go one morning. And what Tamara, what you're saying is so true, because we flew over. There's so much water, you know, around San Francisco and Oakland, and I grew up in the Bay Area, and I never knew there were sunken ships, like tall ships.
Yes,
So
isn't
you could
it
see
amazing?
the outline in the water. It was, I mean, all this stuff in the water I never knew was there. It was amazing.
That's exciting.
I didn't hurl on that either.
See, when I see all that, the next thought my brain has is, wow, I wonder what that would look like if it were coming at you, you know, like several hundred miles an hour.
That crash.
Yeah.
Really fast.
You have little face.
hey, at least it'll be
Oh,
beautiful.
don't you know that the best landing, or really any good landing, is a landing that you can walk away from?
Yep. See, or swim, you know.
Or swim, you
okay.
can swim or walk away from the
Right.
landing. You've got
Yep, you're totally
a
set.
good one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have other friends. I coached news broadcasters and anchors for many, many years, and anytime any of those people ever had a chance, when the Blue Angels were in town, some of the PR stuff they do is have, you know, the local reporters and anchors fly with them, and they would have to put on the pressure suit, excuse me, in the whole 9 yards, and everyone who does that hurls. I mean,
Yeah.
you just know that when you do that, you're going to be barfing into a bag, and you just deal with it. And so, to the person, in fact, a couple of them did it more than once, and hurled both times. But it's so thrilling that they don't care. They're just willing to do that. There were always one or two that actually made it through the flight, but the pilots are trained how to take civilians up and help them through the barfing process.
And you will never get a sexier segue than that, Kalebra. Welcome back.
I'm so glad I'm back.
And you know, and you're welcome
Take
to
us
that.
to the clouds. Take us back to the
extra
clouds.
charge for that kind of intro. Really.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's awesome. I don't think you've missed a thing, actually. You can go right. That's a great story. So I don't know where I was, but
Well, you
anyway.
had
we
just
were
broken through the
backpedal.
clouds,
Yes.
and then you
Yes.
rose up.
And you know, that's the thing. It's like all rainy and gray, and then you just pop through there, and it's beautiful sun and blue and white puffy clouds. I mean, sometimes, not all the time, but it was on my first day. And yeah, of course. And it was just, I was actually flying with an instructor, and I really did. I had to tell, you know, there's a process that you go through when someone else is going to take control of the plane. And we went through that because I needed him to take it because I just, I mean, to be honest, I cried. Oh, there it is. I cried.
That's awesome.
But I mean, it was like just popping through to heaven. It was just so incredible, so joyful, and so addictive.
So tell us how all of this led into the iPhone, your iPhone pictures. Was this something to do with the being a pilot or getting involved with G+? Is it something you've done for a while?
Yeah, I've done it as long as I've had my iPhone. Luckily, though, I did have it that day, and on many days that I've flown, and I use it whenever I go up. But, I've always taken pictures with my iPhone. It's basically been how I've recorded my life and my kids' lives and, everything. Yeah, it's always been there, as long as the phone's been there with the camera.
Have you done anything special with the photos that you've taken through the years on your iPhone? Like printed them out or done a certain kind of collection?
No, I mean, every once in a while I'll make, like, if it's been a particular trip or something special for the kids, I'll make an iPhone book or something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, some of your cloud shots are just beautiful up there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, that's an easy target because it's just so beautiful up there, and it's you just turn anywhere, and there it is. There's the shot.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
You know what it is? It's like, I've had children. I'm married to a man that I love. I've had all these joyful things happen in my life, but to be at this point in my life, at the young age that I am, Ron.
That's right.
To get to experience that kind of joy again, is just the most amazing gift. And it was also hysterically funny. It was a lot of fun to get it, my license. The process was so difficult. I don't know if I ever studied that hard, but still it was a lot of fun too, the challenge.
But you're just beginning because you still have a lot of challenges with the kind of planes that you want to fly, and possibly a helicopter. Yeah, I think that is cool.
I have such a heli bug. Oh,
do you?
Oh my God, yes. I think every fixed-wing pilot, I think, has a little heli bug, and I don't know.
The helicopter is like the rebel side, that's like the dangerous, crazy rebel side.
I think it is. I think it is, but I am not sure my husband is going to give in to that one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. See, I never knew that you had to go, you had to learn on a plane, like a little plane, before you moved on to, helicopters. So, I was like, can I just be a helicopter?
I don't think you do you?
No, you don't. You don't. You can do one or the other.
Helicopters.
Yeah. They're very different. Very different.
Yeah, they're completely different beasts.
Yeah.
Completely different beasts.
Yeah, you would just start in a little helicopter.
A little remote control first, and then
preferably.
I can barely control the remote control helicopter, let alone a real one.
You can start in a little.
They're just so much fun. Yeah, they can just go anywhere and do anything. And plus, I happen to know a couple of helicopter pilots, and they have shared with me that even though we call our airplanes fixed wings, helicopter pilots apparently make fun of us behind our back and call them stuck wings.
That's excellent.
I'm really not comfortable with that.
Can you guys see my screen?
We can.
Because I'm on Kalebra's G+.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah, isn't that something? iPhone, right?
That is.
Not Android, but iPhone.
Yeah. That was actually on Scott's photo walk.
This one or this one?
Yeah, that one. Both of those are on there. I really like that one.
I really like that.
Amazing.
Where was that?
So
In the
much
photo
fun.
walk, but where?
In downtown Tampa, in Florida.
Wow.
Yeah. That was actually the museum, the entrance to the museum that you were looking at.
Was that from the Worldwide Photo Walk in October?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I went along. Actually, I did take a D something or other on that walk.
I'm going to log
I did
on
also
the
take.
screen.
I don't know what happened to those photos.
Now you taken with my trusty iPhone, right?
Yeah, that's what I usually say.
Yeah, taken with my trusty iPhone. I like looking at
It
them.
is trusty. It's always with me.
I love that.
I do too. I love the colors.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
In this one and the geometry.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Now I know there's a lot of people that take their camera phones with them everywhere and only hope to get the kinds of results that you get. What do you think makes a difference for you in your pictures? Because you don't say that you're out there being a pro photographer. You just love taking iPhone pictures. What do you think makes the difference for you? Why? I mean, your work is wonderful, just really wonderful.
Thank you. I don't know, Ron. You know, I only take photos or pictures, or whatever you want to call it, of things that, for whatever reason, really move me at the moment. I know that sounds really cliche,
No.
but and I don't know if that's the difference. I don't just point it at anything. I'm not doing it constantly.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, oh, wow, that, for whatever reason. So I don't take, you know, maybe as many pictures as a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't really
Yeah, but Kalebra, like, you take the photos with a purpose. Like,
Oh my goodness.
they look fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you.
Do you use any processing apps? Do you have favorites, or do you just shoot?
I take my photos with just the app that's on the phone, just the camera app. And I'm an incredibly lazy photographer. I don't do much for post-processing. I can't even say that's what it is. But I do have the Camera Plus app.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to do anything to it at all, then I'll use something in there. There's a few borders in there that I like, and depth of field thing.
I love that, though. I mean, so many people
and
use
there's
all the
a
textures
sparkle
and
button
layers.
on your phone.
Right.
Right.
Sparkle. You gotta have sparkle.
Yeah, there's a
These are
sparkle
excellent.
button. Thank you.
Wow, I love this. I love the textures and the patterns.
See,
I guess
that
one
is
of the.
special to me.
Sorry.
That one, just because I'm a bit of an archaeology freak, and that was actually in Pompeii. And so I was just like a live wire on that trip, because it was just so much fun for me.
It's just layer after layer with you. I'm telling you.
I know.
She's like an onion.
You smell much better.
Cake.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I just started, like, I guess Instagram. They have Instagram with Droid now.
Yeah, I've never done that.
But I never was like a phone photographer. It almost freaked me out that I couldn't like manipulate it in a sense of like exposure.
Oh.
Wow.
I love it. Oh,
that is a fantastic shot.
Oh, that I'm telling you, I was in tears. I was.
I can imagine.
Completely understand.
That is what I saw as soon as we popped through.
Wow.
You know, really, Ron, if I had to answer your question of why some of them come out the way they do, because I don't consider myself a photographer, I'm not worried about it being judged. I'm not worried about what other people think of it. I'm just, and I know that photographers do need to be concerned about that. I mean, they have their own style, and they're very much after, you know, the kind of thing that they do. They hold it. They have a standard for themselves that I don't have. You know?
There's a freedom in that, but
No restrictions away from you allows you the freedom just to play. Like, play is a good word. Do you think, though, I mean, you're surrounded by the best of the best, I mean, every day. Do you think that being surrounded by people like Matt and RC and your husband, do you think that kind of infuses maybe your vision somehow? Osmosis.
Yeah.
Well, of course, even more than osmosis, but I'm very influenced by what my husband does, of course. If you look at some of the shots in downtown Tampa, you know, he's into that architectural piece of the building, this and that. So definitely, I always think of him whenever I look back and I've shot something like that. I mean, obviously, yeah. And it's nice, right? I mean, to be surrounded by that kind of photography, his and the other people that we you know, are familiar with and hang out with. Just to be able to kind of absorb that, you know. But then I get to absorb it, but then I can go out and have fun. And if they don't like it, it's like, oh, whatever. Like I was walking around with Jay Maisel, and you know, he's shooting his thing, and I'm walking. I'm like, Jay, wait up, and because for God's sakes, Jay Maisel, I swear, he walks like 30 miles per hour. I'm not even kidding you. And so we're in Paris, and I'm trying desperately to keep up with Jay. And we get to the Eiffel Tower. I'm like, Jay, hang on a second. I've got to get this picture. I want to send it home to the family, you know. And he's like, I'm waiting. And, you know, and I take this picture. I'm like, hey, I kind of like this, Jay. And he's like, oh, it's great. But I'm like, don't judge it. So it's nice. It's a freedom, you know, to just do it.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, whatever happens, happens.
That's awesome.
I'm just reading out from the chat. And about,
You know, Kalebra, you were talking about... Sorry, am I lagging real bad? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think so.
Go ahead, Tamara. I'll just
Okay.
wait a second.
I'm so sorry. Cliff's going to tell you that you were talking about them being a good influence for you. Well, I wanted to tell you that when we were in New Mexico this last weekend, I pulled out my iPhone because I totally thought of you, and I was like, I'm going to try this, and I took one. I'm so proud of myself, and it turned out really cool, too. That was, like, the best part, is that I was like, I wouldn't have tried this with my camera phone because I've got this other camera sitting right here, but I'm really glad that we had talked earlier and that I did go ahead and pull it out and try it like you would.
Oh, I'm glad to do. Were you happy with it? Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. And then I went ahead and I post-processed it a little bit with Snapseed, and then it was like, holy crap, these take great pictures.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and part of it, too, is like any other, I guess, equipment that you use is learning its limitations or, you know, where it works best. You know, if you're going to try and do something towards, you know, the nighttime, you know, that's going to get all grainy. If it's something that's really far away, I mean, forget it. It's not going to happen, stuff like that. So, you know, you kind of learn what it's going to take well.
I remember when I am really, really busy, I would leave the camera at home and just use my phone. And this is before, like, we had Instagram and stuff, but I remember, like, I never used to take artistic photos in the sense of, like, I would just snap away and just be like, these are memories of my life, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think what really first inspired me to actually start using my phone more and looking for things other than my children were my children. Because when I first had it and I'd start to take pictures of them, portraits of them or whatever, you know, not really portraits because they were running around sort of thing, but I would go, wow, you know, this looks okay, and then, you know, take more of them, and it just kind of inspired me to try it on other things, you know. But when you're taking a picture of a really cute 5-year-old, I mean,
Hard to fail.
It's a good place to start.
Yes.
There are two questions in my stream. Actually, one is from Carmelo Tizzoni, who says, can you give Mrs. Kelby a big hi from Australia, please?
Oh.
Australia apparently sends a hello.
Nice.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And the other is actually R.C. wrote this. He says, I mean this sincerely. Kalebra Kelly is one of the most driven and versatile people I know.
That's right.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, thank you, R.C.
He also asked if Scott was a cupcake, what cupcake would he be?
Yes.
Yeah, he did ask an unserious question.
Or
Or maybe that's very
cupcake.
serious, and I just
We
don't
all want to know what cupcake would you be?
Would Scott be or would I be?
Scott, would you?
Well, both, but R.C. asked about Scott. Now we want to know about you, too.
Well, you know what? Scott doesn't really like cupcakes. He would be the antsy cupcake.
The antsy cupcake. Oh, I like cupcakes.
We'll just let him keep the nickname Cupcake.
Scott, he'll be a cupcake.
He's not a cupcake.
Do you like
He's a
cupcakes?
cupcake. I love cupcakes. Are you kidding me?
Okay, note to self, give all cupcakes to Kalebra.
Oh my God. Yeah, of course I love cupcakes, especially chocolate cupcakes.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Kalebra, you and Scott are really busy. You have hectic lives. Clearly, you're the driving force behind keeping him organized. And I did notice that and this has come about because there's been a couple of blog posts about, not about gear, but about just what we're doing, talking about now, is that you guys really value family and being with family. And even though you and Scott, and maybe especially Scott, I'm not sure, travel a lot, but make a point to get back to be with the family on weekends and for events. Want to kind of let us in that little window?
Yeah, well, you know what it is? Well, first off, we try to take the kids with us to places if we can. You know, it would have been hard, like when we just did the Paris thing, because there was so much. We literally walked the streets of Paris for, I think, 10, 12 hours a day. I mean, from sun up, sun down. chasing Jay Maisel. He was the fastest. He's like a leopard. I mean, I'm not kidding you. We were all chasing him. So that wouldn't have been, a really great place to take them. But we do try and take them with us as much as we can. And then as much as we can be home, we try and do that. But the real key that's worked for us, and it was something that we had to learn over the years, but is to be present wherever you are. And I know that sounds silly and maybe very simplistic, but for instance, in the morning, Scott and I get up and we have our coffee and we sit at the thing, and of course we both have work and things that we have to do. The laptops are open, we start all that. And that actually kind of goes on throughout the day, even into the night, because work follows us everywhere. But if our children, and right now my son's bigger than me, so he doesn't do it a whole lot, but our daughter, if she walks up to us while we're working, we immediately close the laptop.
Excellent.
Whatever it is. Because you always think it's going to take you so much time. If I stop and I'm in the middle of this post, or I'm in the middle of this email, or I'm in the middle of this document or whatever, if I don't finish it, I'll never get. But honestly, they just need that minute. So we just we close it, so we don't even have that to distract us, and just try and be in that moment. And what I have found, and what we've found, is that if we're giving them quality time, even if it's a moment, it registers so much. And so if you have to travel a lot, they don't like it, but they feel like you're there when you're there, and that makes a difference.
Yeah.
It's really, really helpful for us.
That's a lesson for life.
Yeah.
It sure is.
I mean, that's true no matter what you do. If you really are present and you really show up, that's timeless. That's like time-space continuum just goes whoop.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I keep going back to this trip, but when we were in Paris, Barb Cochran and I was a friend, and she came with us. And, I would just have to stop her, and we'd sit there and we're like, oh my God, we're on the Eiffel Tower, and we just, have to take that moment. And I've been there before, but, just realize, where you're at and what you're doing, whatever that is,
Yeah.
Still find the excitement,
Yeah, that's so.
I guess that's how we do it. Is really just wherever we're at, just be there.
Yeah. I love that, especially because I went through a period in life where I wasn't as present as I am now, and I feel like a few years ago I just woke up, like I was in a dream and I woke up, and the feeling now, the difference now from then, I can't even describe. So I appreciate you sharing that. That is so important.
Well, and it's like what you were saying earlier, not forgetting how to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And as we become adults, we get so cool and we get so, in the mode, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
We can't play anymore, and that's definitely something that, we play here.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I'm not kidding. Rolling around on the floor with the kids, or even when I was flight training, that was a whole experience for them anyway, because they weren't used to mini girls. So, when I would jump up and down and scream and holler because I was so excited, it was like, whoa, what is she doing? But I try and go at everything with, I guess it's enthusiasm.
Yeah. And I've heard through the grapevine that apparently having that bouncy enthusiasm isn't always the best thing to have in an airplane.
Well,
can you tell us the difference between your...
It's not a bad thing. It's just not...
But you're going to tell us how it doesn't work so
I'm
well.
getting at the difference between, men having that, oh, I don't play, and your experience.
I think I'd rather have a bouncy pilot than a depressed one.
Just a bit.
I think my enthusiasm was definitely something that the guys in the hangar...
More like methodical.
What's that?
You got a lag with Tam.
Definitely my enthusiasm was something that they had to come to grips with.
Yeah.
Not a lot of pilots bouncing around in the hangar. But
you can't really tone that down either when you're that way. It's like, sorry, guys.
Jeez, I want to marry you. Good Lord.
I did earn the nickname Tigger. So that was pretty good. But actually being enthusiastic in the cockpit isn't that bad. But I remember during my training, and we try and do something like a stall, training or something like that. And I'd always look at which I actually enjoyed that very much, by the way. But I would look at my instructor and I would say to him, is this the part where we scream? Just an idiot. And he was really a very nice person and tolerated me well. But he had a very serious sort of, in the beginning, attitude. And he's like, we don't scream. Pilots don't scream. It scares the passengers.
I could do that.
Throughout the whole training, I would say to him at different moments, is this where we scream? He'd pull the engine or something. We don't scream. I know when we scream. I figured it out because on my check ride, once I had finished it, which is the test you take basically, an oral exam, and you have to fly the airplane for an inspector, an examiner. That's a lot of fun. Once I passed that, and he told me that I had passed and earned my private pilot certificate, I screamed, letting right into the headphones.
That is perfect screaming moment right there.
Yeah. So I went in the hangar and I said to my instructor, I found out when we scream.
So along the lines of play, Kalebra, I'm thinking about this title that you've acquired from a certain someone about being the Pinterest queen, and I know there's a lot of people that are watching that really enjoy Pinterest. I haven't gotten really involved yet because I'm afraid to add another addiction to my repertoire.
Yeah, and it's one.
Your Pinterest site is incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, you like it?
Oh my
Really?
God.
Oh my word.
I followed all of your boards.
I got lost there for a little while today. I was like, what?
Yeah, the Pinterest board will make you dizzy, won't it?
I'm as far as following you, but I'm kind of a Pinterest addict myself. So if I would have looked on your board, I would never be here right now. I mean, like pin.
Where do you find everything that you have on there? I mean, I'm like, I'd love to find stuff like that, but I just go to your Pinterest board.
Yeah.
Right?
She helps us out.
Well, you say the Pinterest curator.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, when you first sign up for a page and you let them know what you're into, of course, they make the suggestions, the initial suggestions for you, and I just kind of built on it from there. A good way to do it is if you find someone you like if you like a board that I have or anything like that, then when you go there, it'll show you where I'm pinning from, and follow that. You know what I'm saying? So if let's say you're into travel photography and you like that board, pay attention where I'm pinning from. And then once you get to them, pay attention to where they're pinning from.
Right.
Yes.
Right?
Keep going back further and further.
You have a shoe board and a food board. Okay, I'm turning this off now.
I have a shoe thing.
It's like this really dangerous, delicious breadcrumb trail that you leave, and you just go to one, to the other, and before you know it, 6 hours is gone.
Oh, sorry.
Like that.
That's because your Pinterest is very organized, while mine is things I want in my closet, things to make, things that make me smile that have animals in them.
That's awesome.
Why do you think it's so important? I mean, do you think there are is it just for fun, or do you think there are opportunities there, or what is it you love about Pinterest?
You see, I'm going to go to the play aspect, and I actually talked about this on Google Plus one time. There was a lot of interest in Pinterest, I know that's, but everyone was sort of talking about it at that moment, and for photographers or for creative people, it's certainly not just for photographers, but for creative people, visual people, it's a place to go and play and be inspired. You're like you were talking about your boards, the things with animals in them. I think that's great because you're just creating a space that is for you to play, to go and find things you like, to come back and revisit them and be inspired by them. You know, it's just a place to just express yourself. And it doesn't really matter what anybody, you know, there's a theme here, right? I really don't care what anybody thinks.
I think we all need more of that. Right? It doesn't really matter what any of you think. I like it.
Yeah.
It's just a place to express yourself for yourself. I mean, it's great if someone appreciates it and, you know, says, oh, I like that photo, I'm going to pin it too. But it's really for you. You know, you're collecting this inspiration. Sometimes the other social sites, at least for me, you know, can be like cable television where there's like 1,000 channels, but there's either no one's talking to you or there's not subjects you feel that you can or want to comment on. So maybe there's stuff going on, but oh no,
oh no!
Connection. I think this whole notion she's talking about with play, and I had a person who influences, you know, my coaches aspects of my life, and she challenged me once to, within the past, say, year and a half, to live life as an artist. Because I was living my life as, I don't know, my own worst taskmaster. And so she said, what happens if you live your life as an artist? And so that it's a parallel thought to what she's saying, which is, you know, she lives with play, and there she is. She's back. Yay. I was just saying this. Can you hear us?
No sound.
No sound.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Oh no.
Oh no.
I mean, we know she speaks Chinese. Can she
hear me now?
Yeah.
Yay!
I was just saying, Kalebra, how profound it is, this notion of play, because I had an encounter with a coach of a certain aspect of my life that I'm working on that I'm not naturally good at, who challenged me to live my life as an artist about, I don't know, a year or two ago. And it wasn't about being an artist. What it really involved was more play and was more of the things that I really love to do that I wasn't doing, because in my mind, no, I'm a this, I'm a that. You know, all these really identified, I can't do that because I'm fill in the blank. So the freedom that came with living life as an artist or living life from play opens you up to opportunities and options you really didn't even consider for yourself until you did that. And you couldn't have conceived of it unless you opened that door.
Yeah, creativity is able to flow because you've allowed yourself to come back without that pressure of being an adult in everyday life, like a child. You get to be, everybody says, be childlike again. Think like a child, and that's the best way to do this, to go play. You know?
Exactly. I mean, and if you think about that, when children play, at least when I've watched mine and others, they can be doing some really important stuff, and some really great thought can be happening when they're playing. And I think that's one of the things that as adults we could really use some work on is remembering to play, because everything that comes out of play, you know, even if it's just peace, even if it's just calm, you know, there's so much value to it. I mean, I would have never, if I wasn't willing to play and not take it so seriously, I would have never gotten a pilot's license.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have never learned a second language. There's all of these things that if I wasn't willing to play through it and not just get through it, I wouldn't have done it.
And I mean, a lot of us are motivated by what we're going to get out of it monetarily as well. Like, I mean, you getting your pilot's license or learning another language, there wasn't a monetary motivation. This was about pure enjoyment for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that it can work for anybody. It doesn't just work for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Actually, I think it's funny you mentioned play and then like you wanting to play to be a pilot, and now you're a pilot, because I bought a camera just to play, and I was completely supposed to be like this behavioral financialist, like totally 180 something else, and now I'm a photographer, and I'm sitting here going, what the heck just happened?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And it
but
doesn't
I think
necessarily take a lot. It just takes even like what we were talking about before, that one moment of being really present in this way just opens the doors for possibilities.
You do. You have to be open to that and not taking yourself too seriously. You know, so that you're, you know, but also, you know, if you're playing and it doesn't work out, it doesn't feel so bad. Right. You're just playing. Who cares?
Like, well, just it didn't work. We won't take it all that.
It didn't work. So what? I'll play doing something else. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's funny? A lot of people like think of play like what the form of your playing is like very advanced. And I remember last week my mom was making fun of my boyfriend Kerry and I. Because we both went to Toys R Us to, like, buy something. Like, I was buying Barbie clothes for a photo shoot. I ended up buying a Barbie. He ended up buying Lego set. We were quietly sitting next to each other playing, like, in our own little, like, world. And my mom goes, look, there's not fighting. They're just playing.
And they're sharing. Oh,
nice. But what's so great is I don't have to buy the Barbies because I
have
They're already here.
Yep.
But I don't have children. I have ferrets. I can't play with their toys. They steal and hide it in the couch.
I don't want to see you start dressing them up, please.
No.
That takes it too far.
Already too late.
I have a question for you about your ferrets. I had some whenever I was younger also, and we named one of them Bandit because do they like squirrel away shiny objects?
They so
okay,
do.
there you go. I knew it. Couldn't just be mine.
No, I have 4. 3 of them steal. The other one just eats. One likes to steal my shoes. The other steals like controls and remotes. And one steals socks and eats them. So
you are tiny, aren't you?
Yeah.
The ferret that could drag my shoes away would be like
no, they
like a badger.
Oh my God!
How about the ferret that eats your socks?
They've like destroyed so many shoes that I have to keep it like 3 feet off the ground in the closet, like between like 3 doors.
Yeah,
like
I
I'm actually
have a problem with a ferret that went after my shoes.
That's right. That's where we go.
Time is over.
That ferret would become
go to ferret heaven.
Actually, I love Pinterest for the pure fact that, you know, I have a board that's like, you know, like do-it-yourself, like genius. Oh my God, I must have this. And it's things like how to organize your home for like your shoes. And I'm sitting there going like, oh my God, where all these shoes come from? First world problems, no more room.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we were talking about Pinterest in that way, but I think that is a place to play. And I know that I had talked about that on G+ before because there were a lot of photographers, and I think we even talked about it on the grid some, but that is a place where you could go to just play. You know. However, if you're a photographer, I do believe you should, maybe not all of your stuff, maybe selective sort of portfolio, but you need to be on there. Because, and someone said to me, why should I? Where's the value? What's going to, you know, well, first off, if you discount play, then maybe there's not a lot of value. But on Pinterest, let's say you put a photo out there, and I like it, and I pin it, and then someone else likes it, and they pin it. On Pinterest, you show up one day, put your stuff on there, and then everyone else does the work for you. They're forwarding it all over the place. They're leading people to your blogs and to your sites and your pages. You're not even there. You don't have to show up. So, I mean, hello.
You're out there playing. You're doing so well.
I mean,
it's airplanes.
Pinterest is really fun. I mean, you're like, you see your friends pinning things, and you're like, that's cool, pin. Oh, that's even better, pin. And next thing you know, you have 600 pins and 30 boards. You're like, what the heck? It just happened.
It does, but you had a good time doing it, so you can't.
Yeah.
It's not worthless.
It is
now,
very
Google,
inspirational. It's very inspirational.
Yeah. I was going to interject. Google Plus is quite different than Pinterest in that Google Plus gives us community and interaction. Mm-hmm. And before we ended up the main portion of the show, I really wanted to just dive into that a little bit on how the last year with Google Plus has changed your life or affected your life or created new relationships? I'm just curious to know, with pretty much anybody that comes on Life Through the Lens, how has Google Plus specifically changed your view of things or your relationships, or just give us your take on it?
Well, for me, I think it changed almost completely how I viewed social media. It was very, it felt like work before. It felt like nobody was really out there. It felt like you were listening to a lot of stuff you didn't want to hear about. You know, now I'm Twitter challenged, so I mean, this may not be exactly how everybody's using it, but, you know, I don't really care if you're at such and such having coffee. You know, on Facebook, it's a lot of your family, which, by the way, my family all live close. I talk to them regularly, so it's like I didn't really need Facebook for that kind of thing. But Google Plus changed the whole way I view social sites, in that it is, I mean, I cannot believe how interactive this site is and how willing people are to help move you forward. And that's whatever you're into. I mean, there are painters on here. Believe it or not, guys, there are other people besides photographers.
I know. Oh, my head's going to explode. It's amazing.
But there are pilots, you know, there are whole communities, but they're so active, and they're talking so much, but in a way that is helpful. It's not just chatter. There's certainly that, and that's good too sometimes. But it feels like to me that when you're on there with other people, like-minded people that you've circled, obviously, that everybody is kind of pushing each other forward. And to me, that makes it so unique. And like no other experience I've had. So, you know, I want to be there. I want to be active on it. I want to find out, you know, what everyone else is doing and thinking, because I know by interacting with them that it's gonna push me.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the biggest difference for me. And that's why I like it so much. I love G+. I really do.
I know it's always silly. I talk about it like that too, and other people that aren't on G+ look at you like you got a third eye or something.
Or they say it's a ghost town. Ha,
yeah, it's a ghost town.
Right.
It's a ghost town. I don't get that one, but
one of the biggest impacts it's had is on how I personally as well view social media. And before G+, I didn't think you could develop meaningful long-term friendships on a social network. I always thought it was a bit odd or not real. And I can't tell you how many meaningful long-term relationships I've developed in the last year and met people in real life I never would have met if it wasn't for this platform. Didn't happen on Facebook, didn't happen on Twitter, didn't happen going to the mall. I mean, the only place it happened was by coming here, because, and I think you hit it on the head, Kalebra, when you said people that have similar interests. Because I met people that were creative and saw things the way I saw them, or at least similar to the way I saw them, or at least expressed themselves in similar ways. And there was instant connections. And so there's interest groups like pilots, like music, like photography, like iPhoneography, or like painting. I'm a painter as well, and I know a few painters. So I have that little community that I've got going too in my circles. So I agree wholeheartedly. Google Plus has created a platform for like-minded people to meet, interact, and develop friendships.
You know, and I think also when Google Plus came out and they made the decision that basically I don't have to friend you, you know, I don't have to ask for your permission to follow you. Though at first, if you were coming from Facebook, you thought, ooh, I don't know about that, you know. Yeah. But I think it's part of what made it work, because I think it opened you up to a lot of people that you probably wouldn't have let in your circles or your friends or whatever, because you didn't know them. Or now, if you don't want to talk to them, there are ways to do that now. But I think it just felt so open immediately. Yes. You know, that I think it was one of the things that really, really helped it be successful.
Google Plus actually helped me get over the whole public issue of like sharing things publicly, because there were so many people that were so supportive when I got here, and it was it was complete. I was like, oh my god, a kid in a candy store. Like, this is amazing. And all of a sudden, I see all these beautiful photos in my stream. I'm like, I need to go away and go make stuff because I need to compete with all these people. Like, show them my work too, so we all can be friends. Yay!
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but if you think about it, I don't know if any of you are on Facebook as well, but here you're on G+, and anybody can follow you that wants to follow you. And you'll allow that to happen unless for some reason you didn't feel they were being appropriate. But if you go back to your Facebook page and someone tries to friend you, you're like,
Yeah. Let me check your profile.
Do I know
you? Exactly.
Exactly.
But it's that asking for permission that makes you stop and think like there must be something wrong. So.
It's just that now when I meet people that I know from Google Plus, it's gone from "Hi, how are you?" or "Hi, my name is Karen" to you look at each other, scream, and hug. That's like yeah.
And you know what's kind of cool too is the ones if you've hung out with them before on a hangout and then you meet them, it's that person. It's like you really do know them. It's such a cool experience.
That's exactly
totally
what Tana
cool.
and I were saying. Tana and I met in person for the first time after knowing each other for almost a year over the weekend, and we're just like, well, we screamed and hugged, and then was like, hi, well, okay, so let's
exactly.
Yeah, I just felt like I've it was like we've gotten together and gone and walked and done photo shoots for a year already, because it was just it's such a different feeling because you do see people in the real life, but then when you see them in real life, it's so much more. I mean, it's really like bringing that full circle of G+ back around because you get to keep that interaction going.
Well, I think because on G+ you shared so much more before you met them. I don't know about any of you, but I know on Facebook, it's not the level of sharing that. Yeah.
G+ has conversations. Facebook has comments. G+ has conversations. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
So in conversations, we learn about each other.
And Tamara can't say this because her audio is lagging, but Samir and Amy Osman are staying with them now because they're moving back east, and they all met on Google Plus, and they're really good friends.
Shacking up together.
Shacking up. Like she got shoved in the corner there because the whole gang was taking over the rest of the night.
Shoved her out,
In London, we're sharing stories about meeting people. I did the Great Canadian Photo Walk Toronto 2 weeks ago now, and I met a lot of people in person, a lot of amazing people, but I just wanted to bring out that the first person I ever hung out with was Sandra Parlow. And I was so nervous to go into a real hangout. Really, it was so nerve-wracking.
I know how you feel, Ron.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, you're a seasoned pro now.
But I got to tell you, almost a year later, and when we saw each other, it was like seeing somebody I hadn't seen in 10 years. And we hugged, and a little tears fell, and we went out for dinner. My wife and myself and her went out for dinner, and we talked like we had known each other forever.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
It was amazing. And then, so we spent the whole weekend doing the photo walk on Saturday, and then again we went to a photo show on Sunday. And it's just, there's no words.
Yeah, and in September, I'm going to be meeting up at our conference. There's several people, a handful of people on G+ that I feel as close to them, I swear, as people I've known for years and years, and we're going to meet up. And I cannot wait. I mean, I feel like I'm almost going to run into family I haven't seen in years, so, and that'll be the first time we'll have face-to-face. We're really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I mean, I'm planning my trips around hanging out with Google Plus people. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in your neck of the woods. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I actually
drive, that's nothing.
I hung out with somebody who planned their trip around being able to get to a spot I was able to meet and spend a morning and then have lunch with, and then they went on their way and continued to travel through Canada. And so I actually did a photo shoot at some waterfalls, and we shot some wildflowers, and we spent some time having lunch before he carried on his travels, and it was all because of Google+. So
that's amazing. I mean, and that is right there. I mean, that's so unique to this community. So unique to this community. because every time you go to Facebook and somebody new wants to talk to you, it freaks you out.
Who are you? And I don't know, no mutual friends. What are you?
Exactly.
No mutual friends.
Well, I think mine's up to like 50. If we have 50 in common, I'll consider it. But
no, it's weird because now Google Plus is kind of like Google Plus photographers are now friending me on Facebook, and I'm like, you know what? Facebook friends, I told them not to add me on Google Plus, like not to expect me to circle them because I only get 5,000 people I can like circle.
Yeah.
And now they're like encroaching on Facebook. I'm like, I only get 5,000 people to like be friends with. Like, I want to be friends with everybody.
Only 5,000. Do you hear us? Only.
Hey, it's 5,000.
Hey, I'm young. I'm gonna know a lot of people.
That's true.
I know a lot of people.
I'm young. Well, on that note, and why that's a segue note, I have no clue, but I'm going to make it because I can do that. We have to wrap up this part of the show because this is the recorded section, but we are not done, and we're also not going to go away. We're going to stay on and then end it. That works for you, Keith, yes?
Yes.
So, but what we want to do is first, before we do that, is yes, is to announce who our next guest is, and Anna has the scoop on our next guest, who's very interesting.
Oh yes, Anna.
Yay! I'm so excited to tell you all that we're having Chip Litherland on our show on June 19th. Chip actually. I met Chip about 2 years ago when I first started photography, and he's inspired me so much. He has a great project called the Focus Project, and he's so excited to share it with us on our next show, and I can't wait for you guys to meet him because his work is fantastic. And I think he actually lives, 30 minutes away from you, Kalebra?
Oh, wow.
He lives in Sarasota.
Oh, well, no, that's a bit more than a half an hour, but an hour. It's not bad.
We all live in the same area.
I have to tell you, he did a live webinar on Photo Shelter last month, and I got a chance to listen to him anyway, and he is just full of knowledge and full of energy, and there will not be a single dull moment.
I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Well, I want to come back for that one then.
Yeah. We're going to have to keep a seat warm for you.
Kalebra, you make me smile so much my cheeks hurt. Oh my gosh. Really?
Me
Ear to ear grin. Totally adore you.
Well, we are going to wrap this part of the broadcast up, and then we're going to continue because we have some more things we want to talk to Kalebra about and a few things as well. But for now, we're going to say goodbye and thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.